Well, this is surreal. It's yeah, we've never done this, and for everyone, like Peter was such a big part of my journey into Bitcoin. Sorry, you probably hate this, but I think for a lot of people in this room as well from the podcast, you really did help a lot of people understand Bitcoin and take us on that journey. And it's it's great to have you here for the day. And I'm excited to talk about Bitcoin and business with you because you get shit done, which is what I really like. And a lot of people say that Bitcoin fixes this. It's a common phrase in Bitcoin, but you've actually gone out and built things, just do things. But how important do you think like that taking action part with Bitcoin as a tool is? Because I think a lot of people just get stuck up on the just Bitcoin will fix this. But it's people that will actually have to do something.
Yeah, Bitcoin doesn't fix anything. It's people doing things fixes things, and people doing things with Bitcoin. It's just a tool to fix things, and so I always thought it was a stupid thing that people said, like Bitcoin doesn't get me up in the morning, and Bitcoin doesn't do a deal, and Bitcoin doesn't create an advert for people to come and maybe buy a service from you. What Bitcoin does is it's a tool within your business. So I always thought it was a dumb statement. It's just like one of those memes we spread around online, but fix the money, fix the world. Yeah, okay, well, you're going to have to get some people to go out and actually do that. So, yeah, but it has been a useful tool for all of my businesses in different ways. I think there's two ways. For those who don't know, I own a football team in Bedford. And we bought the team with the goal of taking them from the 10th tier of English football to the Premier League. And obviously, everybody laughed at me when I said this idea because we played in a field and we had 40 fans. We are 3.5 years in. We've won the league every year, so 3 years in a row. If we win it this year, we're the first team in English football to ever do that. Our women's team has won the league twice in 2 years in a row. And in the third tier, we took the largest investment in a non-league football club ever, and they're not laughing so much anymore. And the role Bitcoin played two roles. The first role it played was advertising. We became the Bitcoin team. So all the Bitcoiners around the world bought our jerseys and our hoodies. They come to our games, and we got the Bitcoin teams to sponsor us. So I really like any business which is a traditional business that layers Bitcoin onto it, so it becomes an accelerant. If Bitcoin dies tomorrow, people are still going to come and watch our team play football and buy a burger and have a beer. But by having Bitcoin on, it's given us that extra 10, 20, 30% to accelerate what we're doing. So there's that. In my more traditional businesses, I own a coffee shop and a nightclub and a conference. When you create, most people, I think, when they create a business, I don't think you should do it just for cash flow. I think you should be doing it to build something to sell. And if you're building something to sell, you hopefully have a story that maybe after 10 years, you've grown it, you've grown your customer base, you've grown your revenue, and you've grown your profits. Well, if you're siphoning some of that money off into Bitcoin and putting it into Treasury and holding it, you're increasing the value of that asset. So at the point you go and sell it, if you've put 10% of your profits into Bitcoin every year, hopefully over that 10 years, Bitcoin has been going up, and suddenly you have this strong financial base to the business. But also, look, there may be other times whereby business is tough at the moment. We have a communist government, and there may be times where cash flow is tight. And if every single business I have holds Bitcoin. The only business that ever dilutes its Bitcoin is the football club because it's very expensive to run, but none of the other businesses have. Let's say the conference we run, we're on our third year. We've probably collected, about 0.75 Bitcoin. And that's just sat there. That's, don't know what that price is today, a bit lower than a couple of weeks ago. But at the same time, if we had a tough year running the conference for whatever reason, we could dip into that, and it's been good for us. But yeah, building Bitcoin-only businesses is really hard. Building traditional businesses and laying Bitcoin on, it's an accelerant.
With the football club, was that the original thesis of, okay, I'm going to go out and create real Bedford, and then Bitcoin was going to be attached onto that? Or were you at the very start where you're like, all right, okay, well, this is going to be a global brand, and it evolved into, well, looking at it today, you can't go to a Bitcoin conference and someone doesn't have a real Bedford jumper on, and it'll be someone from the other side of the world, like, which is, how does that feel? And two, was that the plan?
Yes, that was the plan. And it's very cool. It's humbling. You go to, I remember I think I was in Nashville at the Bitcoin conference, and it's the first time I'd seen somebody who was wearing a t-shirt. And I went up to him, Real Bedford, he said, yeah. And then, like, I wouldn't do an American accent because it would be shit, but he was from Arkansas. I mean, if you're trying to build a football club and you're in the 10th tier of English football and from a little town that nobody in the US has heard of, and there's a guy in Arkansas who's ordering your merch, that's a very cool thing. But it comes down to the plan is Bedford is the second largest town in England that's never had a team in the Football League. And the only town larger is Wakefield, who've got a rugby league side. So they're already a sporting town. We're not a sporting town. So I was like, why has this never happened? There's no real clear answer. It's never happened. So, okay, then how do you do it? Well, how do you win leagues? It's a combination of, which I think I've got now to about 65% your playing budget, 25% your manager, and about 10% luck. So you don't have to have the best budget, but then you have to have a good manager. But if you want to compete, you have to be financially successful. Well, your money comes traditionally from three channels. Any sponsorships you sell locally, local plumbing business, maybe, tickets you sell, and merch you sell. And so if we wanted to have the best budgets in the leagues, how are we the best? So we became the Bitcoin Club, and they may have a local plumber. We have Gemini. They may have, I don't know, Paul Skips. I think Bedford Town has our rivals. We have Luxor. They're getting £10,000 for the front of their shirt. We get a 5-year, £500,000 deal paid in Bitcoin. They sell, I don't know, 100 shirts to locals. We sell 100 grand of merch a year. And so we just demonstrably outperform them. But it's a unique scenario, right? There are other Bitcoin football clubs, but we will always be the Bitcoin football club, so we're first to do it. So I really used the Bitcoin community to accelerate this project. But that was always the plan, and so far it's working.
If Real Bedford...
When?
I wasn't going down that route, but if you had not attached Bitcoin to the club, where would you be right now, taking Bitcoin out of Real Bedford FC?
Well, I don't know if I'd have even done the project, but if you're asking me if I was involved in a football club and didn't have Bitcoin, well, we would be competing on the same, competing the same way other football clubs do. You either have to have a rich owner or a very good business model, and it's really, really hard because football is like no other business. It's a results-based business, not a profit-based business. Profit comes second to results, and so you often compete. The start of each season is, how do we win the league and lose as little money as possible? So it's a unique business. Very few football clubs make money. They are now the toys of billionaires. I mean, Birmingham City are in the Championship, about to spend $3 billion on a stadium, a 64,000 capacity stadium. That means you never really get this money back. So it's a completely unique business. And also because it's very capitalist, we have promotion and relegation. There's so much jeopardy involved. But if we didn't have it, we would just be competing for local sponsors. I mean, look, if I was going to do it again, what did I learn? I learned that identity is really important, and we have an identity which is Bitcoin. Maybe you can pick another identity which taps into another community that can do it. But we do have Bitcoin, so we'd have to worry about that.
With all your businesses, like, we've talked about custody, we've talked about accounting, all of this side. With your businesses, how do you decide how much to have in fiat, how much to have in Bitcoin? I get asked this a lot.
Yeah, it's really easy. Everything we accept in Bitcoin, we keep in Bitcoin, and everything we take in fiat, we leave in fiat. There's no science behind it. It's just what we've done, and it's worked well for us. The one thing I did do is when I sold the front of shirt to Gemini, they wanted a 5-year deal, and we'd originally charged 150 grand a year. I said, if you pay the whole 5 years up front in Bitcoin, I'll do it for 100,000 a year. And I can't remember the price, but there was a moment in time where we essentially had doubled. So it turned out to be a good trade for the football club.
How did that come about? Because the Winklevoss are now co-owners, correct?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It's actually a funny story. So they were sponsoring my podcast. I used to have a podcast called What Bitcoin Did, and we met up in Austin to talk about the renewal, which we didn't need to meet up for, but I had the football thing in my back pocket. I was like, I just want to talk to you about this other thing. I said, I've got this idea. I think we can take a 10th tier football club, my local team, up into the football league with Bitcoin. And it was Cameron who said to me, what's the football league? And I explained it's the 4 professional divisions: Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2. And I swear he just went, well, how do you get them in the Premier League? And I was thinking back, because there's like 40 people a dog watching a game playing in a shitty field. I was thinking, I was like, leave it with me. But actually, it's a very cool thing, because I mean, these are Olympic rowers, billionaires, kind of inventors of Facebook. Let's be honest. Their starting point for everything is, how do you be the best? And the only thing that stops you is yourself. Like somebody mentioned Mandami earlier, and this socialist bullshit that's spreading through this kind of this. It's really easy to sell kind of victimhood and blah blah. I think there's a reality in the world. Is like, you're only limited by yourself. You could have the toughest upbringing, and you're still only limited by yourself. You're limited by how much. I am not very smart. I'm a university dropout. I've never had an A in my life. I just can outwork people. I can get up at 6 a.m. and do a 16, 18-hour day, 5 days a week. It's not a problem. And so I can outwork people. And I think their point is you're only limited by yourself. The idea of taking a team from the 10th tier of the English football pyramid to the Premier League is nobody's ever done it, and why would anyone think they can do it? But they very much like, oh, you can do this. How are you going to do it? And so I spent the first 2 years just kind of figuring it out, and I went back and said, I know how to do it now. I put the plan in front of them, and thankfully they've been very supportive. Largest ever investment in a non-league football club, nearly double what Wrexham raised, who were in the 5th tier when they did it. And now we're working on a £25 million stadium, which will be very cool. So, and so they give me the confidence that you are limited by yourself.
Oh wow! Yeah,
congrats. So if you're not changing the world, what are you doing with your life?
The world is changing fast, and your business is no exception. How you save, plan, and protect your future is shifting, and standing still now means falling behind. This is the reason we are launching the UK's first Bitcoin business network, and it exists to help UK businesses protect what they've built and turn Bitcoin into a genuine competitive advantage. It's a place for founders, entrepreneurs, and executives to share what's working, learn from people actually doing it, and help drive positive change across the UK. So if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, hit the link down below to join the network and help shape the future of Bitcoin in the UK. Okay, let's get back to the video.
I've been to see a few games and I love it. I'm a big football fan, and hope a lot of you watched the Scotland game this week, just saying. Yeah, how are you on track? Would you say you're on track with where you want to be?
We've won the league every year. I mean, we can't be behind track. No, we're ahead. I said 10 years to get from the 10th into the Football League. So 6 promotion in 10 years. We've done 3 and 3. We are third. If we win our game in hand, we'll go second. And this year is the first year we didn't budget directly to win the league, and we could still do it. So we're ahead of schedule, which means we have infrastructure problems. We need a training center. We need to be able to go full time. We need a new stadium. We need more full time staff. So we're ahead of schedule, which is cool. I think. So what I've said is I want to be in a football league now in 6 years. So ultimately we would have done it in 9. So look, yeah, we're ahead of schedule in terms of where the team is, and just trying to. These things, unfortunately, again, it's just the government getting in the way of everything. I mean, to build a new stadium, our biggest hurdle is planning. I mean, we're going to go into a town, not only build a £25 million stadium, but a £40 million sports complex there, a £12 million training centre. We're providing jobs, an opportunity, a pathway in football for boys and girls to join an academy and have a pathway to first team football. We provide, we're the first people to pay women to play football in our town because they didn't used to pay them. We've set up a hardship fund. So any kid in Bedford who wants to play football whose parents can't afford it, we will pay for it. I mean, we've done a lot, right? And we're objectively good for the town. The minute we announce this stadium, we are going to have objections. All kinds, and we're going to have to go through a planning process that could take 2 years, 3 years, and it's so obviously objectively good for a town which is struggling, but all our hurdles and all our big cost is government.
This is what I was gonna. This is very much like I was gonna ask around community, and like that's something I've seen that's been big with you, and like Bedford is your hometown, and you want the people in Bedford, you want Bedford businesses, you want everyone in Bedford to do well, and you seem to be trying to provide as much jobs as possible. You've now got the coffee shop, you've got the bar. Just how important is that and what's your mission around all of this with Bedford?
Yeah, look, this is what annoys me with Bitcoin, has annoyed me over the last couple of years is, I mean, I got in, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was buying cocaine on the Silk Road, and apologies, just somebody tweeted earlier about wishing they had dry powder for the dip in the market. I was like, that was my problem. I don't do drugs anymore, but about 10 years, and there was a real punk rock attitude for Bitcoin for my first 7-8 years. It's like, we're going to change the world, fuck the government, fuck the institutions. Like, Bitcoin was punk rock. You know, we wore, sorry, Blazer guys, but we wore hoodies, and that was what we were meant to do. And so I quit the podcast. I think I sold the top on that and gave up all that money because it's like, well, my town is dying. There is rampant crime. The local councillors are morons and useless. I'm going to go back and try and fix this. And that's what I was told we were meant to do. We were meant to get rich and go and fix the world. And I don't think many people are doing it. A lot of people got rich and just disappeared. They went to live in authoritarian states, live on the beach, or they started shitcoins. And it's really disappointing because that was my expectation for people. And it's hard fucking work because you go back and you try and fix things, and the kind of ways that we as Bitcoiners approach things, we approach them libertarian conservative. We think, we rightly know that government is terrible, and we know conservative economics is the best economic model to work by, and there is a socialist, communist, left-wing push against this. So it's been really interesting in that I've become one of the most known people in my town. I don't say that as a brag, but as many people who appreciate what I'm doing fucking hate me. They literally hate me. They get me cancelled from events. They cancel businesses from working with me. They make up stuff about me online. They try and destroy what we're doing. It's a real struggle. But this is the struggle of our time. We live in a time now of left-wing and right-wing populism. And We've been utterly let down by the state, we are, I think we're at a dangerous time. Socialism, despite all its failures, keeps coming back and being popular. You've got morons like Zach Polanski, same virtuous things that have convinced the young people of our of our nation that this is the solution to bad government is more government, and it terrifies me. And so I can't even remember your question. I'm just ranting now. I hate the government so much. It's like you could ask me anything, I'll be like, this fucking government. But but I'm terrified for the future of this country, and I think everyone should be terrified for the future of this country. And it's on all of us to try and create something for our children. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 21-year-old and a 15-year-old, and the more debt we accumulate as a country, the more we steal from their future. It's just my last thing. Money, proxy for time. You save money so you can have more free time in the future. And every time we make housing more expensive because we've inflated the currency, we've pushed that away from young people able to afford it. So we've stolen from them, and we are stealing decades from our children. I mean, if your child is living with you in their 30s, we've stolen a decade off them. If they live with you in their 40s, we've stolen 2 decades from them. And this is the decisions that the psychopaths in government have made, and it terrifies me.
We're 50 seconds over, but I've got one more question. What's
government?
For the next, because I'm always amazed whenever I go on X, it's always you've got something else, and it's like bringing in private security into Bedford and like doing something. You're always like you're non-stop, as you said. What's next for you alongside the football club?
So actually, it's less. So I've tried playing a game of chess and seeing which pieces move where and how it works. And what I've learned is that the biggest change we can make in the country is through policy. So as much as it pains me, whatever I do, I can turn a little dial here, but the big cogs are in government. And so if those cogs turn in the wrong way, it's bad for us. So if the government could strip back planning and building regulations, the right ones, we would have more properties built. Therefore, the free market will deliver and properties will get cheaper. If we can get rid of business rates in the town centre, more businesses will open up. I toyed with the idea of becoming an MP, but I don't think I'd last long. But so actually, I'm going back to focusing on my podcast to be as loud and as noisy as possible for trying to educate the young people of our country about economics, politics, and empowerment to go and do what you want. But yeah, it's back being focused now on. I think, like I say, the most important election of my time will be in 3 years. There isn't a single party that would get my vote as it is. But if we have a party that I think the problem is that I don't think the country's got the stomach for what it needs. And so if you don't have the stomach for it, we're going to have continual slow decay. And when you go and look at socialist nations, when they've collapsed, they managed to maintain this kind of like socialist utopia for a while. Venezuela was a great place to live under Chavez for a long time, and then it was awful. And that's what tends to happen with socialist countries. It's gradually, then suddenly, and when it's suddenly, it's awful. And you're eating rats, and they're shooting you if you try and leave. And it's not that I say that will happen in this country, but nothing. Like, okay, here's a great question for the audience. Put your hand up. Can you name me one thing that the government has made better in this country in the last 20 years? Right? There's not one hand up. And that is a really important question. And that tells you that they're obviously shit at their jobs. And yet every 4 years we vote a new one in, and it's like, but Conservatives are terrible, well, Reform will fix it, or Labour are terrible, now Greens will fix it. The mechanics of the state are utterly broken, and they are stealing from the future of our kids. So if I can do anything that leads to better policy, that's what I will work on. And football. Can I pimp something?
Go for it.
So just if you're interested, I also have a conference in March in Bedford. It's called Cheat Code, but it's a really interesting conference because the second day we all go to watch the football team and get drunk. And last year we won the league with the Winklevoss there on the day. So like if you're not busy end of March and you want to watch some football, come to Bedford.
I'd highly recommend it. Amazing. Peter McCormack, everyone.